Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today I'm filming out here in the woods in Tuscarora State Park in Pennsylvania. Beautiful place. Wanted to do a change of pace. You get sick and tired of sitting in the office all the time. Wanted to change it up a little bit. Nothing like getting out here into nature. Very exciting. Beautiful place here. Oh, there's the lake down there. Here, let me switch this around so you can see it. Yeah, there it is, there through the trees. You can see the lake. Yep, beautiful. Anyway, today we're going to talk about a little bit about Lue Elizondo's new book, Imminent, and the fact that now I have not finished reading it. Only a few chapters in, but I'm enjoying it very much. And I just want to say, if you haven't got it, it's definitely something. If you're in the UFOs, it's a must-have, must-read. So far, it's great. But I want to talk about the foreword that was written by Christopher Mellon. He touched on a couple of things that I think are very important. The fact that that this is not being something that's been taken seriously by a lot of people in the Pentagon, because obviously it's been hidden away and by a secret control group, obviously. And it's sad. It really is sad. And he talked about how we basically got caught with our pants down at Pearl Harbor. There was a lieutenant who saw that there were planes coming toward Pearl Harbor back in 1941, and he thought it was just our guys out on a training mission, and the rest is history. And then, of course, 9/11, had the CIA and the FBI been sharing information with each other, maybe it's possible that we could have avoided that disaster, the terrorist attack. Mellon said, it really hits home with him because he was actually in the Pentagon that day when Flight 77, I believe, smashed into it, blew up. So you have that. And I just, you think about all of this, the fact that we don't, like, for a longest time, the media, science, the world, the mainstream scientists, for the most part, haven't taken this seriously. Really been no large studies conducted on this phenomenon. And basically, it could be setting ourselves up for a disaster. I know there's a lot of people out there in the UFO community who believe that that a lot of these beings are here on their friendly terms. They're here to help us and whatnot. A lot of people have very positive encounters. You hear that a lot. But there's a lot of people out there who have negative encounters, scared out of their minds. These beings are up to something, right? Some of them. At least a segment of them, right? And we've heard the stories. We've heard the stories from Whitley Strieber, his terrifying encounters with them. They remove semen from them. You hear this throughout all the abduction literature. People like Bud Hopkins, John Mack, they wrote about it. Dr. David M. Jacobs. So many people terrified. Some of them remember bits and pieces. Some of them were having missing time, and they have recall under hypnotic regression. These creatures are up to something here, and some of them, at least some of them, and it could be no good. And the fact that all these decades we've basically been not doing anything about it. I mean, of course, maybe the secret control group is studying this secretly behind the scenes, but shouldn't everybody be involved? Wouldn't it be better if everybody was involved? Scientists from across the world studying this, trying to figure out what they're up to, how to prevent whatever, if it's something bad, how to stop it. It's a security issue. It's a national security issue. It's more than national security. It's not national security for the United States. It should be national security for concern for every single country in the world. We don't know what they're doing here. I mean, if they do have some sort of a hybridization program like David M. Jacobs talks about, that's dangerous. I mean, are they taking over? Are they absorbing mankind? Is that what this is all about? Like, we talked about this many times before, but the fact of the matter is that Christopher Mellon, he pointed out, he made some good points in that. It was a really good, powerful foreword to that book. I got to say, it's an eye-opener. It's just something that gives you something to think about, because, if we're just basically allowing them to set up shop here for all these decades, and at some point they could be pulling some stunt on us that we're not going to be happy about, and people are going to be wondering, well, why weren't we told about this? Maybe we could have done something about it. And so it's something to really think about. I mean, we need to have disclosure already, folks. We know that they're here. I mean, you could read Lue Elizondo's book, and that's just further corroboration. This guy's not making it up. It's a shame, actually. You know, I'm reading the story, and you hear about his past. He had a tough childhood. He was getting bullied a lot. You know, there's other issues that he had, and it's sad to think that, you know, you hear these debunkers, you know, giving him crap for the last few years. You know, calling him a liar, this and that, and everything. And you know, he was on the inside. I mean, he presented information and to Christopher Mellon, stuff that the public hasn't even seen yet. And there's stuff that he knows about, and I'm sure there'll be more I'll learn as I read the rest of that book. And there's things that he can't talk about, but he's telling the truth. We know this. We know that he's telling the truth. And all these people that are continue to pretend that it's not real, like, why? You have to think about it. Aren't the debunkers, are they setting us up for disaster? Are the debunkers and the skeptics and the scientists that laugh at this, you know, the mainstream media, are we being set up for disaster by pretending that there's nothing to this, laughing at it all these years? And now we're finally going to start taking it seriously. We're trying to anyway. You know, it was nice to see Elizondo on a CBS morning show the other day talking about this. It seemed like CBS was taking it seriously. It just seems like the mainstream media is taking it a little bit more seriously. Fact of the matter is, you know, he's telling the truth. The stuff that he's talking about, he's been telling the truth. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be in this position right now where we're talking about UFOs all the time, UAP now. So I gotta say, for so far, I'm really enjoying that book. But I say, you know, I want to talk to just today basically about that foreword from Christopher Mellon, which is, you know, it gives you, we've talked about it before. It's points he's making that a lot of us had made before in the past. But it's nice to see it again. It needs to be talked about, because we could be setting ourselves up for some future disaster. It might already be too late, for all we know. I mean, if David M. Jacobs, for instance, is correct, then maybe we're beyond the point of no return. We could be. I don't know. But I just think that I've been really happy with the fact that we are moving forward. It seems, again, you think about that terrible book that by Garrett Graff. He had that UFO book that I talked about. Oh my God, that was published last year. That compared to Lue Elizondo, that guy basically establishment hack. I don't know what was the point of that book. Well, I mean, why are these people out there trying to fool everyone else into believing there's nothing to this? Well, why? When we have the evidence, as I've been showing on my channel. I mean, check it out. I'll show it right again here. I mean, look at, we have it. It's over. There's evidence out there now that shows that there's alien creatures here among us. And when you look at that, you know, you look at the evidence that we've been talking about, and then you look at the gimbal video, you read Elizondo's book, right? You listen to the concerns expressed by Christopher Mellon and others. Okay, and I just make clear here, I know there's a lot of people out there in the UFO community who think, oh, they're here to help us, they're here to warn us, they're here to make sure that we don't destroy ourselves, and this, that, and the other, and maybe there are some here that are doing that. But we would be fools to think that all of them are here to help us. For all we know, they're here to take over the planet. That could be what's going on here, and it's a slow process. They're both slowly absorbing us. You know, that's what it could be through this hybridization program. Why would they be abducting people, making them forget about their experiences for the most part, taking semen from men, eggs from women, impregnating women, and then abducting them again, and then taking out the fetus while it's a couple months old, a couple months in there. I mean, something's been going on here. All these people can't be lying, right? They just can't be. And the fact of the matter is, you know, the creatures they describe, we now have the evidence that shows that those creatures do exist. They exist, as we've seen, right? We've seen clearly now. We know. I mean, if the Turkey UFO video, if that didn't convince you, and if the aerial school incident didn't convince you, well, now to Las Vegas, if you're gonna sit there with your eyes closed and act stupid, well, that's on you then. That's on all of us. We're stupid if we're just gonna let this thing just go by and do nothing about it. We got to get disclosure. I know we're here in the United States. We're in the middle of this presidential election. And nobody really wants to talk about that right now. I get it. But when this is over with, right? When this election's over with, we need to take the next step already. I mean, Elizondo's book is on the market now. It's real. The stuff he's talking about is real compared to the stuff like Garrett Graff, Establishment Hack, was talking about, which was total nonsense, trying to steer us. Why are these people trying to steer us in the wrong direction? Steer us away from reality. What's going on here? Why is this happening? When we know, a lot of us here, a lot of us who have been paying attention, who pay close attention, most of the world does not pay close attention to it. People who had encounters, people who know that it's real, be based on their own personal experiences, or just an interest in it, and they did enough studying and research that they now know that there's something here. How come it's only, for the most part, how come it's only us? Well, where's the rest of the people? I mean, they're taking too long to get up to speed here. I mean, we've been talking about this now seriously since 2017, since that New York Times article. But yet we're almost there. I think that people, need to start waking up here and understanding that by pretending that there's nothing to this, you're setting yourself up for disaster, potential disaster, by not talking about it openly and considering the ramifications of the presence of the phenomenon itself. And it was a really strong, really good way to start off that book, that foreword from Mellon, I got to say. I really enjoyed it, and the book so far is really good. It was interesting, the first few chapters. I'm going to do a full review on this once I complete the book. I'll have a show on just that. For instance, Elizondo, he was bullied when he was a kid. He went through a lot of tough times. I mean, it's a very interesting story, and you learn how he first learned about, like, he never even thought about it. It wasn't until 2009 when he started being presented with this information, when different people start coming into his life within the government to bring him in, to talk to him about problems that they had with this. And it goes from there. Mellon, for the most part, really, it wasn't until 2017 when his eyes were really opened, when he first met Lue Elizondo. Fascinating book so far. But, I guess the main takeaway is this disclosure business, this is a crime. And, the fact that some people in the Pentagon seem to want to continue with this because of their religious beliefs is insane. That is insane. I know there's some people out there, they're demons from hell. You don't have, where's your frickin' proof, okay, for that? There's something here, it's physical, they're up to something. People get abducted, they lose time. It's not demons from hell, okay? Where's your proof if it is? There's some sort of creatures here, we don't know what they are, but there's no evidence that they're demons from hell. That's just absurd, totally absurd. I love how people just talk things without no evidence whatsoever. I try to, on my show, I present evidence, and if I'm not sure about something, I say it. These are physical creatures, and not from some spiritual realm. I encountered one of these things. It was a physical thing of being standing there, flesh and blood in the bedroom, right? I know that they're real. A lot of people know this, and you saw from the Vegas video, it's a physical thing. They have some sort of a technology to, make themselves invisible, to cloak, to camouflage themselves, obviously. But there's enough information in that video to show us that they're physical. They're physical in nature, and that's what they are. And and the other thing too, a lot of people in the UFO community says, they're here to help us. They're here to help us. Okay, well, maybe some of them are. Some of them are probably nice guys. Okay, I'm sure. But not all of them. How could it be? I mean, based on just human. Look at us. We got good guys, we got bad guys. There's a lot of evil in this world. A lot of killers, murderers, people who don't care about fellow man at all. People who, racism, all that stuff. Anti-Semitism. There's just hatred in this world for whatever reason. And that's how we are. So you have to imagine that's probably how other life from other planets is probably too. And they probably don't really, for all we know, some of them could be here and they just want to take over the planet, and they're doing it a nice, slow process. That could be it. I'm not saying that's what it is. I don't know. All I do know is that they are here. And by pretending that they're not, and still pretending, right up to this day, To this day, we're still pretending that they're not here. It can't be good. It can't be good walking around, the whole world walking around with complete blinders on their head. Waiting for what? Waiting for the rug to get pulled out from under our feet. Waiting to get caught with our pants down. That's why disclosure is so important. That's why you know, people like Lue Elizondo, Mellon, you know, Gary Nolan, all these other people, all these names out there, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, you know, in the back of their minds, they know this. We need to start talking about this. People need to know this is real. We need to take this seriously. What are these things up to? What are they doing here? What do they want? Where are they from? You know, so I just think we'll get there. We're going to get there, but wow, 2020, since 1947 and now it's 2024. We're moving on to 2025. It's absurd. Absurd. We should have known about this. The world should have known about this a long time ago. A long time ago. We waited too long for this, I think. But hey, you know, better late than never. So we need to get disclosure. We need to start thinking about, you know, December of this year, January. I don't know, the secret control group. You know, I say this. I said this before. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's the people that are part of this. This program was started a long time ago, and all those people who started this secrecy group, they're all dead. So over the years, the people that were brought in, but it was started by people who are dead, and the new people brought in had to follow the rules created by people who are dead. So I'm all for, like, I know people are against this one too. I'm all for granting these people immunity. Just because we got to get over this hump, folks. We got to get over this hump. And again, in a way, when you really think this through, is it their fault? Say, for instance, I was part of the secret control group, and I was just brought in on the program a year ago. Didn't know anything about it. And it's all laid out for me. They give me reasons why they're still keeping it secret. And what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to come out and potentially put myself in some sort of legal jeopardy and tell the whole world what I was just told, that I just signed papers for, that I just signed a non-disclosure agreement for? Am I supposed to come out and say all these things, break some laws, maybe cause a panic? You can understand why. You know, I could understand. You know, I could give them. You know, yes, are they guilty? Of course they are. But at the same time, we need to grant them immunity. We do. We need to pass that UAP Disclosure Act, which would do that. So I guess, you know, we're not going to get it in December. I guess we got to look at it that way. But if it's signed and if it's into law, if it's part of the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act of 2025, and they sign it into law in December, January, February, March, you know, early next year, it's time. That's going to be it. It's time to start moving forward. The public needs to know. The evidence is out there. We've been showing it to people. More and more people are going to find out about it as time goes on. Is it scary? Yeah, it freaks some people out, obviously. I've received comments on the show about it. It's unsettling for some people. And I was unsettled by it too. Everyone's unsettled by it. But, you know, you get used to it. You know, after a week, you know, okay. We got all kinds of problems in this world, folks. All kinds of problems. You know, this is just one more. But we can deal with it. The world can deal with it. We need to figure it out. Scientists, the scientific community needs to understand, needs to be brought in. The entire scientific community. We need to try to understand what's going on here. What do these things want? What's the end game? If it's something bad, is there anything we could do to stop it? We need to figure this out. We need everyone needs to know about it. We could deal with it. You know, yeah. Is there going to be some people upset? Yes, no doubt about it. There always are. Some people won't be able to deal with it. But what are you going to do? It's reality. We got to face reality. You know, there's sharks in the sea. They'll eat you alive. It's reality. What are you going to do? Yeah, it's disturbing. Some people get eaten alive by sharks, as we all know. Some people get torn to shreds by wild animals in the jungle. You know, some people get mauled by bears right here in the woods in Pennsylvania. Who knows? Anything's possible. There's all sorts of threats hovering over us. But to ignore this threat, I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. It really is. I mean, just to have a small group, secrecy group, looking at this. You know, you have limited brain power. We needed more brain power over these decades. I understand why it started in 47. It should have been disclosed long before that, though. It really should have been. Gotta say, it's really nice here. Nice to get out and about into the woods, into nature. Beautiful. But you know what? Anything could happen in the future. We'll find out as time goes on. Government needs to be more forthcoming. It's a Pandora's box, I understand. But the reality is that there's something here. But why are you going to continue to deny it? So people go through life, and when something does finally happen to them, which does all the time, you know, there's people who encounter these creatures, and they never believed it before, like the Kenmore family. They didn't believe it. Next thing you know, surprise, guess what? It's real. You learn the hard way. Everybody should know in advance, and there should be guidelines, you know, from the governments of the world. If you're someone who gets abducted on a regular basis, what could you do to stop it? There needs to be more openness with this. Anyway, I want to say thank you all for joining me. Until next time.